We have already discussed about buccal cavity. Now, esophagus. Esophagus is a pipe-like structure that comes immediately after the oral cavity. So this pipe-like structure that extends, this is nothing but esophagus. This esophagus is also called as food pipe. It acts as a connecting link between stomach and oral cavity. Food from stomach will be conducted, food from oral cavity will be conducted to stomach through this pipe-like structure. Okay. So in this esophagus, it produces wave-like motions. This wave-like motions produced by esophagus are called as peristalsis. Peristalsis is wave-like. See, this region is contraction. This region relaxation. Like this contraction and relaxation will go alternatively to form peristalsis movement. See, food is here like now. You have taken your food. This point is this. So this point will contract and push the food forward. When the food reaches in this position, this point will contract. So when food is here, this will contract. When food is here, this will contract. So when food reaches here, this point will contract. When food reaches here, this point will contract. When food reaches in this region, again this point will contract. In that way, it moves forward, keeps on moving forward alternately. Contraction and relaxation takes place, and that alternate contraction and relaxation is called as peristalsis. Alternate contraction and relaxation of esophagus muscles. Esophagus muscles is called as peristalsis. After this, sometimes there is a reverse movement of peristalsis. Sometimes when you are eating very toxic food or food that is having so much amount of fat, your body will not be able to digest that food. So what it will do, you'll get that food return. This is called as vomiting. How it occurs? At that time, peristalsis starts from here when food is trying to go in this region. So here, from here, the wave-like movements will produce. And this reverse movement of esophagus is called as reverse peristalsis. Reverse peristalsis is also called as antiperistalsis. Antiperistalsis. Okay, so that is about esophagus. Now, after the food enters into the stomach, what happens? Our stomach has some enzymes. It has capacity to produce some enzymes. So this stomach has capacity to produce HCl and enzymes. Enzymes means these are the chemicals which digest. Chemicals that digest. Apart from these chemicals, HCl also produces by the stomach. HCl is also produced by the stomach. So in this region, we can find food is present and HCl is also present. Enzymes are also present. Now, this HCl is very acidic in nature. It is highly concentrated, 1.8 pH. That means very acidic. This acidic HCl may cause damage to the walls of the walls of the stomach. So to prevent that, there is a layer of mucus. Mucus is produced here. So our stomach produces mucus along with enzymes, along with HCl. Some amount of mucus is produced for protection of stomach walls. Protection of stomach walls. Why HCl should be released? HCl is very important for activation of this. If this enzyme should work, this HCl is very important. One, for enzyme function. For enzyme function, HCl is very useful. Second, HCl kills the pathogens. What do you mean by pathogens? Disease causing microorganisms that enter our body through food, like small bacteria, small viruses, small fungus that enter our body are killed by the HCl that is present in the stomach. So that this HCl also helps in protection from any disease causing organisms. So food is partially digested when it is present in the stomach. After the food is partially digested, the partially digested food enters into the first part of small intestine called duodenum. Duodenum is the first part of small intestine. First part of small intestine, which is slightly bent like this. Okay. In this part, we can see the connection of here. We have a leaf-shaped gland. There is a leaf-shaped gland here, and that gland is called as pancreas. This is pancreas. Pancreas is a gland that helps in digestion. So it secretes a juice called as pancreatic juice. Pancreatic juice. The pancreatic juice which is produced in this pancreas passes through this pancreatic juice and it enters into the duodenum. Not only pancreas, one more structure is also connected to this. There is a structure called liver. This is called as liver. The juice that is secreted by liver is called as bile juice. Bile juice and pancreatic juice enter into this part of small intestine called duodenum. Okay. So in this part, pancreatic juice is there, bile juice is there. After that, our small intestine continues further. So we have a large intestine here. So this will be large intestine. In between this large intestine, we can see the distribution of small intestine, which is highly coiled. Why it is highly coiled? So that more amount of small intestine can be spread in a small area. So this is all coiled. Coiled part of small intestine. So this small intestine is the area where complete digestion occurs. So when the food is reaching here, only it is partially digested. Partially digested. We are achieving some part in stomach also. It's a very good machine like structure. How the washing machine turns the clothes, or how the mixer grinder mixes the thing, same like that in our stomach also. Food mixes very fastly when it is broken down into small pieces because of action of the stomach muscles. So it is partially digested here. Here when it comes, it is completely digested. Why? One, I said you pancreatic juice. Second, I said about liver bile juice. And third juice that is present is intestine will secrete its own juice called as intestinal juice. These three juices acts on the food materials. What is present in food materials? In food materials, we have components of food materials. carbohydrates. Second, fats. Third, proteins. All these substances are digested. Okay. Apart from this, nucleic acids are also digested. Nucleic acid are present in cells. That is also digested. So what about the other components of foods? Minerals are there. Will they get digested? No. Vitamins are there. Will they get digested? No. Water? No. Roughages? Roughages means the fibers that are present in food. Will they get digested? No. There is no digestion for those things. Vitamins and minerals are directly absorbed into the body. Only carbohydrates, fats, and proteins and nucleic acids are digested. Remaining things are not digested. They are very small molecules. First three minerals, vitamins, and water are small molecules. They are easily absorbed into the body. Next, roughages are those fibers which cannot be, they cannot be digested in our body. These are the undigested fibers that are present in the food. They will not be digested. Only these four will be digested. What will happen to them when they are digested? Because of action of pancreatic juice, bile juice, and intestinal juice, three of them will act on these substances. Carbohydrates are finally converted into glucose. Small molecules called glucose. Okay. Fats are converted into small molecules called fatty acids and glycerol. Proteins are converted into small molecules called amino acids. And nucleic acids are converted into phosphates, sugar molecules, and nitrogen bases. Nitrogen bases. What is this nitrogen base, ma'am? Someone asked me. So this is a component which has nitrogen and basic in nature. Structure of this nitrogen bases will study. We have the topic of nucleic acids in this year. In your 8th class, we'll study the complete structure of nucleic acid. Then you'll understand. It is simply you understand that nitrogen base means it is a basic compound which has nitrogen in it. Okay. So these are the end products. What happened to these end products then? That also we should know. In our small intestine, so this is our small intestine. If you take, this is inner wall of the small intestine will have small finger-like projections. What are these finger-like projections? The finger-like projections that come out of the small intestine. These are called as villi. In this villi, we have distribution of blood vessels. Blood vessels are present inside this villi. So when food is passing through the stomach, it is breaking down into small pieces. This nothing but glucose, fatty acids, glycerol, amino acids, phosphate, sugar, nitrogen bases. Those small particles will be taken in by this microvilli, and it will enter inside the blood. Okay, so the food that we eat is finally entering into our blood. Our blood is distributing in the entire body, each and every corner. So if you pinch here also, you are getting blood. This corner also we have blood. So each and every part of body blood is distributed. So once this food and food materials, digested food material enter into food, they reach each and every part of body and they help in production of energy. Okay. So why should this be folded like this? Let us assume it's not folded. It's like this straight. Let us assume that inner small intestine inner wall is straight like this. How much food can be absorbed inside here? Let us think this blood vessel also is straight like this. How much food can be absorbed? This much area is present. But if this one part, this much small part is folded into this much part, this much area increased. How much food can be absorbed? The space the area for absorption is increasing, yes or no? So that is the reason why this Villi villus, singular villus, plural is Villi. This Villi helps in absorption of food, absorption of digested food. Okay, it increases surface area by increasing surface area. Okay, so now what happens to this digested foods? Okay, this is entering into the blood. What happens after it enters into blood? What will happen? Glucose enters each and every cell of the body and it is converted into by the process of respiration. It is called as internal respiration. It is converted into H2O and water and energy is released. Okay, this is called as oxidation. Glucose will get oxidized inside the cells. What happens to fatty acids? Fatty acid will be stored in fat tissue. Why it should be stored? When you are not eating foods, when you are starving, at that time it will be converted into glucose. So for that, when you are see if you don't eat for 4 hours, your body's glucose level will come down. At that time, if you are late by 1 hour to eat the food or few hours to late in eating the food, at that time this fat will be converted into glucose and it helps in release of energy. That is the main reason for storage. What happens to these amino acids? Amino acids will produce new proteins, new proteins for bodybuilding and repair of different parts of body if there is any damage like that. Phosphate, sugar and nitrogen bases, these are having phosphate, sugar and nitrogen bases are absorbed into blood this into blood and they have different functions. They have different functions. So that is the fate of food. Now, what happens to the undigested food? What happens to the undigested food? That also we'll see. Among the undigested foods, water, minerals, vitamins will also be absorbed into our blood. Vitamins and minerals are also absorbed in small intestine, but in case of water and minerals are absorbed in large intestine. Large intestine absorbs water and minerals. After that also, see our large intestine is like this. Our large intestine is so through this digestion completed before the food is reaching into this large intestine and here the water and minerals are absorbed. Here the undigested food reaches here and it is temporarily stored in the structure called rectum and through anus undigested food comes out and this process is called as defecation. Defecation is egestion of undigested food. Okay, so we have all seen ingestion that occurs in our mouth, digestion. After digestion, it enters into blood. It enters into blood. This entry of digested food into blood is called as Absorption. After that, it is used for production of energy, storage in fat tissues, for bodybuilding and repair. That process is called as assimilation. After assimilation, food is thrown out and it is called as defecation. So with this, digestion process is complete. So there is a small structure called, this is called as vermiform appendix, or simply you can call it as appendix. Vermiform appendix or appendix is the same. So this organ is like, it is not having any function, non-functional in human beings, non-functional in humans. But in earlier organisms, like for example in rabbit, it has a very good role in immunity. It helps in production of immunity. Okay. So recent studies have shown that in human beings also it is playing a role in immunity. So still it is not a confirmed. Still research is going on that, and scientists are saying that vermiform appendix is also a part of immunity. It also has major role to play in immunity. Okay. So sometimes this region gets infected. When it gets infected, it leads to 24 hours pain. And at that time, a small surgery is performed and this part is cut off. Vermiform appendix is cut off and removed. Okay. Surgery is performed, a small surgery, laparoscopic surgery, and this part is removed from the body and tied. This part is stitched off. So this reduces the pain that is caused due to vermiform appendix. Right. So that is about the digestive system.